I like to, scrapbook at night. So then when I go to bed, my head is still filled with all the thoughts. Like it's almost too exciting. I'm like, okay, calm down.
Welcome to Scrapbook Your Way, the show that explores the breadth of ways to be a memory keeper today. I'm your host, Jennifer Wilson, owner of Simple Scrapper and author of The New Rules of Scrapbooking. This is episode 173. In this episode, I'm joined by Amy Zwart, our new Simple Scrapper community manager. We chat about Amy's experiences in scrapbooking, past and present, in the style of our My Way interviews. Hey, Amy, welcome to Scrapbook Your Way.
Hi, Jennifer.
I am so looking forward to this conversation because you are our new community manager inside the membership, and you are a longtime member yourself, very active, very supportive, and I just can't wait for you to bring even more of that enthusiasm to our community. Can you start by sharing a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks for having me today, first of all. And so I'm Amy Zwart. I was born and raised in Minnesota. So we're just coming out of the long winter, of course. I've been married to my husband for almost 23 years now. So that's Jeremy. And then we have two kids. Our son Trevor is 14 and Jenna is 8, our daughter. And then we also have a pandemic puppy, as we still call him, even though he's 2 years old now. And that's our Beagle. So he's added great entertainment.
Oh, yeah, I am sure. Maybe he'll make an appearance today on the show as well.
You never know. Yes.
So I really wanted to do this My Way episode with you so that our larger listening community can get to know you a little bit better. But first, I'm curious, what is exciting you right now in memory keeping?
Well, it's definitely not something new to other people, but right now I'm really excited about the sketches in Simple Scrapper.
Aw,
I'm working on this long-term like Hawaii album, and I've pulled out so many different sketches for different stories and got the photos printed and all the things put together. So I've kind of made like little page kits from it. And I think the first reality for me was realizing that it's not all 4x6 photos and you can't just cut them. So it's been a bit of a process,
yes.
but it's definitely been
But
invigorating, I would say.
yeah. No, it's awesome to see you getting excited about the library and using it. We have well more than 600 sketches and layered templates now. Sometimes it blows my mind how many and how long we've been creating these. But yeah, it's cool to see
Yes.
that you're excited about that. And, you have been for a little while now.
Having them all come together that you can search and pull different ones and they're all different. So it's been fun.
So we also like to ask our guests about their memory keeping bucket list. So what is one story that you've not yet told but feels really important to do so?
I think what's interesting about my scrapbooking is so much of it is project based. And so
Mhm.
I feel like some stories get kind of lost or just aren't done yet because of that. And so I just thought, well, let me think about a recent one. And for me, it was kind of this post pandemic things that are changing. And when we got to return to going to a theater show. So we ended up seeing Frozen, and it was tickets that I gave my family for Valentine's Day of 2020. And then we
Oh,
got to go
wow.
in October of 2021. So it was a long time coming to go see Elsa, but it was really fun. And it just made me realize like how much, we've done that and, the memories we've created by doing that and how good it felt to be back. And, there's like the tie-in with like how things were so bad in New York. And now these are like traveling theater people coming and then who knows, it could turn into documenting other shows we've seen or different memories from shows maybe, but
But yeah, I like that connection to just our pandemic experience and thinking about the things that we missed and maybe even the things that we didn't miss. But I know we're all kind of feeling rejuvenated by getting back out there and being around people again. Even introverts like me are like, yay, like I actually get to do things and go out there and feel just comfortable again. So
right, definitely. So different kind of feel and just the excitement of it again. Old things being new, I guess.
So, in this My Way episode, we're really just diving into your history in the hobby, the things that you're loving now, kind of everything about you as a memory keeper. So, can you tell us how you started scrapbooking and how your hobby has changed?
Sure. When I look back, I think it was basically my wedding that started it, but not how most people would say their wedding, because I knew we were going to have a photographer and get, photos that way. But I had this whole like nostalgic, binder, I'm going to call it, of like all the plans and all the, samples and different things. And I was like, I don't really want to throw this away. So I basically turned it into, kind of a rough scrapbook, I would say, so I could save this like planning binder I had. And then I think just the timing of being newly married and having, time to do some other things and Stampin' Up! Is probably what got me first, making cards and kind of doing crafty things. And then here, Archivers was a big thing. We
Hmm.
would get groups of friends to go. We had our Friday night kind of set up, once a month, and did that, which also kind of coincided with doing some like scrapbook, crop weekends. My sister and I are probably the two main, that started or went back to the beginning, and have had different friends join us through the years. But we started by going to this like kids camp where it was like, 150 women or something for a long weekend, and, just once a year. But then that turned into, a smaller group of, 12 to 16 going to like these houses that you could rent just for scrapbooking weekends, and kind of its own little niche market, I guess. And I think the beginning was that. And, I had space at home to scrapbook, but I don't really know that I used it. Like, if I was going to scrapbook, it was like my stuff was all over the living room floor as I organized photos and, you know, planned pages. I had the, what is it, Creative Memories, like planner box, if anyone is familiar with
Hmm.
that. And I would fill that thing up. And so I really started with chronological scrapbooking, just events and different activities. We did build our house. I documented like the construction of it. I took a lot of photos of that. So that was one of my earlier projects. And then 12 by 12 travel projects, was kind of the earlier things that I did. So that's changed into, I have a scrapbook room that's actually functional and I use it frequently, especially with simple scrapper crops and, different times that I just kind of dedicate to go up there. And up there, meaning just it's upstairs. And then I've also, like I mentioned earlier, I do a lot more project based. I think I struggled with just layouts in the beginning because it was like this nonstop thing, like you were never done, nothing was ever finished.
Yes, for
So
sure.
I turned more to projects. And then by the time I had my first son, I was super overwhelmed with how this chronological thing was going to go and this whole big baby album thing. And, I thought I was so prepared and I did all these pages ahead, like from showers. And, there's a really cool, like, um, family tree page I did and things because I was so proactive. And then it's just like, it's still not done. Like, it's like, I don't know how you can stay on top of it. So the overwhelm with that was happening right when Project Life started. And so I have like the first edition of that and switched to Pocket Pages, and I've done it ever since then, although by no means are they all done. They're not completed annual albums, but there's a place for things and kind of a home for them. So then Project Life, and then adding in different other projects like December Daily and Week in the Life as, again, kind of these one off projects that could be finished, um, kind of gave me a mix. But I really noticed that I miss just 12 by 12 layouts for the sake of 12 by 12 layouts. So
For sure.
right now,
Yeah.
the big travel album that I'm working on has been really fun to be back into it, and then thinking about how can I do more bucket list stories and where do I put those and what does that look like? It's maybe not a project, but maybe it could be a project kind of put together. And
I love how your journey has been kind of just the kind of a very traditional journey. You said you got married, what, 23 years ago? So you've been in this for a while. You've seen things come and go. You've seen archivers go away. I'm curious, do you
yeah.
still like have relationships with those women that you scrapbooked with way back in the day?
Yes. And actually, when I was thinking about this past, one thing we kind of forget is that some of my closest friends we met because of those scrapbook weekends, like,
Hmm.
different groups got put together or different things. Ironically, a lot of them no longer scrapbook, but we can still get together and they work on other things, so we
Oh,
still do
that's
have our
fun.
2 weekends. Yeah, we have 2 weekends a year that, we go away and make sure to do that. Like I said, I still scrapbook, but other people, may or may not. So yeah, that's been a huge part of it, the social side, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And hopefully you get some of that with Simple Scrapper as well as a nice balance between, creating from home and being able to still go out and have that in-person experience.
Absolutely. And I think because my friends no longer scrapbook or not in the same capacity, I would say, I think that
Hmm.
was the other like fill in that Simple Scrapper and the whole community has done for me. And, the timing with the pandemic is definitely related, so I definitely stepped into a lot more crops and engagement, I would say, during that. But it was
Hmm.
happening for me before the pandemic too, because my friends were no longer, they didn't want to hear about new products and Allie Edwards this and, where
Yes.
things are at because they weren't in it anymore, right?
So you mentioned you're still doing Project Life, and then you also do Week in the Life and December Daily. Are those, and then plus your Hawaii album that you're working on? Does that really encompass the sizes and formats that you work in? What are those smaller size albums?
Yeah, so I would say, like right now, this travel album is a 12 by 12, but
Hmm.
some of my other travel albums have been 6 by 8, and that's what December Daily and Week in the Life have been for me. I do some school albums that are 12 by 12, but maybe not as traditional layouts. There's kind of a kit, and there's a lot of like sample artwork and things that go in that. But those are the two main sizes I have. I'm not afraid to do like a little mini album if it fits for something. Like I did a small 3 by 8 travel album that I finished kind of, I think, in January. And that was fun. It was, a unique size, but the photos worked for that trip versus, I need the real estate of the 12 by 12 for the
Yeah.
beautiful Hawaii photos I have. So
That's a great point. Is sometimes really the types and the orientations and just the overall kind of quality of the photos you have may impact your final choice.
true.
So I think you've already hinted at this, but whose products are you completely obsessed with?
Yeah, just based on the projects I do, you can tell I'm an Allie Edwards fan. And, Project Life from back in the day, I'm kind of switching up instead of using like a core kit for this year. I'm going to use the Stories by the Month kit from Allie, but
Hmm.
I haven't even started this year's Project Life. That's coming soon, hopefully. But otherwise, I was kind of laughing about this question because I'm the type of person that I'm kind of not brand specific beyond Allie right now. And I can fill a scrapbook.com cart with a whole variety of things. And, I sometimes kind of look at, just starting with some of the papers that are appealing to me and adding some of the coordinating kit pieces. Or sometimes I'm out there looking for a specific theme, like I have some kind of idea that I'm trying to capture. And so I might order some specific things that way.
So I haven't started my Project Life album yet either. And so I'm doing mine again in a photo book, but I have like a few pages set up, maybe like one story documented, but really I am similarly kind of behind and ready to jump in and kind of get caught up for the first part of the year. So we're in that boat together right now.
Good. That always makes me feel better. And we had an interesting discussion at a recent crop because I said I have my 2021 album like almost done. We're at a
Hmm.
good place as far as photos where I have to kind of decide the whole December daily versus project life, how to handle December in that album. But some of the women on the crop were encouraging me that I sounded excited about the 2022 album with the stories by the month kid and things, and said, maybe you don't need to finish that first. And so I kind of left that thinking like, ooh, I'm torn. Like, do I need to finish it? Like, that was kind of important to me. Or are they different enough that they could be two separate projects? I haven't worked that out yet and figured out my next plans, but it was good food for thought.
I like to choose something exciting to get the momentum going. And then when I'm ready to pause or take a break on that, use that momentum to go back to something that maybe is more important.
Ooh, I like that approach. That's definitely a great way to,
So that might be a strategy.
yeah, the momentum builder. 'Cause that's, you
Hmm.
know, that it's key, right? That you need the momentum to do some of the things that aren't as interesting, maybe, or as exciting. But I also sometimes need a break from that exciting thing. Like, I can't describe it, but I think sometimes
Yeah.
it's either like too much or I got so many thoughts going on. I'm the type that I like to, scrapbook at night. So then when I go to bed, my head is still filled with all the thoughts. Like, it's almost too exciting. I'm like, okay, calm down.
That's not a bad problem to have.
Right, right.
So, thinking about the projects that you work on and the pages that you make, is there something that you've noticed that you tend to use or do on most of your pages?
I would say originally I always started with 4x6 photos. So I think that's been kind of a switch up lately. But I definitely like a lot of photos. I rarely have the story that just goes with, one photo. But I'm kind of working on that because I like that sometimes too. Let's see, what else do I do? I like pattern paper is often a starting point for me.
Well, it's okay if you don't have more. It sounds like you like a lot of variety.
Yeah, and I think stickers are probably a key element for me. That's maybe one of the like go-to things for my titles or, you know, adding
Oh, for sure.
text on the
Love
page.
those.
But I don't know that I have a defined style enough sometimes that pulls me one way or the other.
For sure. I think we're all a little bit different in that regard and also always evolving over time. I feel like I kind of evolve with the trends. I just kind of go with the flow. I can always find something that I like. And so I'm just kind of letting what's available guide me.
Yeah, I like that. And I think I have enough of a stash that if the trend is gone, I usually still have some of it if that's,
Yeah.
what I thought of for that page or what I wanted to put together. That I do kind of pull products for a page, either like I said, I'm either ordering directly for that or, going through my stash. So I think that looks different kind of for every page. It's like, well, what prompted me, for that idea or what came to mind for that page.
So when do you typically find the time and energy for scrapbooking? Is it during the day, in the evening, all the time?
I'm definitely a night owl, and so I would say most of the times it's at night. I think um, I like not being interrupted, so that in
Yes.
my household that seems to be the time that works. Although still not always a guarantee, but I am home with my kids at school, so I do have some time in the day. Um, so project life kind of happens at my kitchen table. No one else is around.
Do you find yourself always staying motivated, or do you have to kind of use some strategies to like get re-energized?
Well, I definitely need to be re-energized. I if I get out of the flow, it is sometimes hard for me to get back in. Um, so again, this is where Simple Scrapper has really helped because I host a couple of crops in the week, and there are a lot of times when I'm like, oh, I have that tonight. Like, no, do I have the energy for that or whatever? I do a Tuesday night one, but I'm always so happy that I go. I always enjoy it. I always get something done. Like maybe it's not what I first thought or what I had planned, but depends who's on the call or what we're doing. It. So it's always been productive that way. And then those things kind of motivate me after too, that now I have this set up or I know what the next thing is to do. So I, try to get back to it. I wish I did more scrapbooking in the day, like in my craft room. And so I'm trying to find a way to work that into my schedule and make it more of a
Hmm.
thing. And I've recognized too that I'm almost like a little bit too tied to the crops and the times that I need to find my own, just have music on and just do the things in there that I want to do and, you know, not worry about my dog getting into things or whatever. So yeah, I definitely still need that motivation or that spark and I'm aware of it, I guess, and trying to figure out how I want to change it or add something. Like I mentioned, those kind of one-off stories. I don't really have a time that I dedicate to doing something like that. So I put them on my list, like I want to do these, but if I don't schedule it or kind of make a plan, then those tend to stay on my list. Like, oh yeah,
Yes.
when is that gonna magically appear, right?
I think that is something that we all face. And it's like almost like going to the gym. If you have an appointment with a personal trainer, you're going to show up because they're going to charge you whether you show up or not. So when you're hosting a crop, it's kind of like the same thing. People are relying on you to be there, and so even if you're not really into it, you show up and you get something done regardless.
Absolutely, yes. So unless my dog can hold me more accountable in the day, I need that outer accountability to make that happen. Some of it is scheduling other things around it, and making sure that you leave that open space if that's what you wanted, to kind of pick your day or time and go with it.
Or even like stacking things together.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah,
is there something in your week where you can say, before or after this, I'm going to work on just creating layout?
true. Yeah, that's a good one for me to watch for. Yep,
Because we all have kind of some regular things that are outside of scrapbooking on our calendars. So, can you pair something scrapbooking with one of those things as a trigger to do that next? So, something to think
true.
about.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a great one.
So, we're going to go a little bit more here into more of your overall experiences and what has worked well for you. But I'm curious, is there something that, whether it's a supply, a technique, a size, or a format that you've decided is just not for you?
I love the rage and what people are doing with travelers notebooks.
Hmm.
But for me so far, the size and the restriction of not like being able to rearrange it has kind of made that not an option for me or not an enjoyable option, I should say. Um, and then I'm also gonna say what I'm gonna call extreme mixed media, where people are, making their own backgrounds and things. Like I love the look of it. I like to see it, but I've never had a desire to like do that. Like or the art journaling side of it. Like and I don't really know why. Like I'm the mom with the crafty daughter that likes to do all the glittery paint and all the things and we've always had that stuff here and I'm not afraid to add like a stickles kind of thing to my page or something but I've never thought that the mixed media would be my thing. Now that said, I do have a couple of things that I've wanted to try, like almost more like an embellishment instead of the whole page. But
Well, one of my favorite things recently has been doing like mixed media backgrounds elsewhere and then scanning them, and then I use them as a hybrid background. So then I print them on my cardstock, often with my journaling, and then I add photos and embellishments on top of that. So it ends up being like you get that effect without it being wet and putting possibly
oh,
still wet things next to your photos. So it's kind of an interesting solution that I've found to give best of both worlds.
that is, yeah, that's you're getting the look and feel without the mess side or the imperfection, like if the paper warped a little or.
Yeah, and then you also mentioned how you have like all the craft stuff in your house. Like we definitely do too, and had even long before I had Emily. But sometimes I feel like I'm kind of crafty on paper. Like you would perceive me as being a super crafty person outside of scrapbooking, and I'm not. I don't do a lot of like just random other things like for gifts or home decor. It's really just about my scrapbooking and not about those other things. Even though I did it certainly when I was younger. I think we just kind of focus our energies at some point.
Right. Yeah. I think I would be afraid if I had too many other hobbies because, you know, the energy and the supplies and all the things. So I would
Yes.
say that here too. I don't have a lot of other, hobbies in that way. I've, done a little bit of cross stitch, probably more because of the pandemic. And what are the like diamond dots or diamond painting? Done that as my
Mm, yeah.
don't need to think, just, follow the pattern kind of thing, and have found that oddly enjoyable. So my daughter, she has a lot of craft kits though. So
Oh, really? Yeah. No, mine does too. Oh my gosh. And it's amazing how, because they're great gift ideas. I've given so many as gifts myself, but they do kind of
right.
pile up.
I always joke that, someday I'm just going to have like the whole table set up with like stations, just to use up some of those kits, like go from one chair
Yes.
to another when she gets home.
So that's a good segue into organization because I've had to come up with like various organization solutions for all those kits over the years. It can be related to like supplies, photos, ideas, or just like home organization. Do you have any specific like favorite tips or solutions that really work well for you?
One thing that I changed up this year, and I guess is maybe just an overall thing, is to organize it where you use it. And I have kind of a flashback when I say this, that my mother-in-law used to store her like decor items, like seasonal decor, like wherever she put it. So like if it went on this little mantle, it was like tucked in a little drawer underneath that until it was like time to put it out. And I was like, what? When I first saw her do that. But now as I do some things just, based on function, having it where you're going to use it makes it easier to get it out and do it, and have it not be such a, I don't know, such a complicated thing, I guess. So my latest example is I do project life at my kitchen table, and I now have a little cabinet in our kitchen that has, my albums on the bottom and little sliding door thing to cover up the junk that goes with it, but keeps the cards accessible, pens, adhesive. Like you don't need a lot for project life, but yet I never want to clear my whole craft table to put this huge 12 by 12 album on and, switch it up.
For sure. No, that's a great solution though to kind of separate project life from the other projects too.
Yeah. And then I think like product, my other product tip right now was that I organized my thickers by color, like
Mm.
probably at, you know, 2 or 3 stash bashes ago, and it's been amazing.
That sounds awesome. I've kind of done that. I have my thickers separated between like black, white, neutral, like browns, cork, wood, things like that, and then I have color. So it's divided into like two categories. But it helps because I'm usually thinking of one or the other. And so that's
True.
always the best solution is how do you think about it and do the minimum amount of organization that fits how you think about it. Sometimes you don't need to do more than that.
Yes, yes, exactly. And that has been one of my favorite tips, from like stash bash things, is it doesn't have to be so down to the details, and I think it's just such a good reminder that how you're using it and how would you look for it, should always be the top filter for that.
Yes.
So I think for my thickers, that was exactly it. Is I was looking for them by color and I couldn't find them easily. Like it took too long. So now that they're by color, it's way easier, and it made like this huge quantity more um, manageable too. I did pull some out that were like smaller sized that I use a little bit differently, or maybe in those smaller albums. And those aren't really organized as well by color because there's not as many, but just having that size differentiation has really helped too.
Yes, yes, I love having the smaller ones kind of separate. Mine are not organized by color at all, and I think that's the next step because I'm always kind of rifling through every single one to find something that might match better. So, and at some point it just becomes a lot to go through every single little sheet of stickers.
Exactly.
So, okay, kind of wrapping up here, where would you like your scrapbooking to be in another 10 years?
It's like an alarming question to think of with, the ages of my kids right now. But so the overall answer I have for that is definitely like just still going. Like I still want to be having fun with it. I still want to, be having or making friends through it and allowing myself the time for it. I don't have lofty goals or plans for like, this is what I want to have done by then, or, you know, I'm still going to do Project Life or I'm not going to, or, anything decided that way and don't feel I need to. But I just really hope I'm still doing it and that, the industry is alive and well to allow that and having fun.
Oh, for sure. I love your, I don't know, just approachable, relaxed vision for. I think that's what we all need a little bit more of is how can we just enjoy this experience and know that we are lucky to be able to be scrapbookers and how can we celebrate that together?
Absolutely. Yeah. Celebrating together. I like that.
So, Amy, what has being a scrapbooker taught you?
It's all about being able to notice the details and appreciate the little things. I think by nature, I'm not a detail person. Like I always say, I'd be the worst like eyewitness at a scene or something, right? But being able to just see, the way my kids have changed and the way, the world has changed or things, just being able to appreciate that and take note of it has been important in my life. And then, kind of side by side with that, is being able to celebrate and plan and do fun things like, you know, give yourself something to celebrate and enjoy and, have fun with it. Celebrate everything was kind of a motto my husband and I heard early on in our marriage. And I think it stuck with me like all these years because you can always find something to celebrate and, it doesn't take away all the negatives of life, but if you focus on the positives and the fun and if you create your own fun and magic, it's just that much more enjoyable.
Oh, what a beautiful thought to end on here. Amy, can you share where we can find you online? Are you on social media?
I'm actually not. So if you want to find me, it's in the Simple Scrapper community. And that's where I share some things and connect with people and post some crops and plan some plans.
Sounds awesome. I hope some of our listeners will join us inside so they can get to know you better inside of our community. And thank you so much for your time. I am looking forward to continuing to collaborate and have fun with you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jennifer. This has been great.
And to all of our listeners, please remember that you have permission to scrapbook your way. If you've been curious about membership, it's a great time to check it out. Our next Finishing Day event is coming up soon on Saturday, June 11th, 2022. This is a full day devoted to camaraderie and accountability towards checking off a project on your list. Visit simplescrapper.com/membership to learn more and join us.